What's up, everyone? It is Mitchell J once again, your scaredy cat guide, and I want to use Bitcoin and Ethereum to point out why and really how you go about looking for good price action. As in, why force an investment or a trade on a asset, coin, stock, whatever it is, where the price action really isn't giving you anything clear and crisp and favorable um, when there's others that are, where there's others that are giving you positive price action or constructive price action or just clear price levels that you can get in and out. So let's just review Bitcoin real quick, just to keep up on it. So in my last video, I talked about essentially how we broke this prior low after this small bounce, essentially breaking, we're breaking this uptrend, and good likelihood that we might come down and test this support around 7,900. So as you can see, we spiked down to about 8,100, but then we got a rally and closed back above this low, and we're still above there now. We're a little green on this new day. So that's at least positive. That doesn't mean that this price action is positive, but that does mean there's hopes that we are creating a new little low here. So that would be great if we could essentially create a low at this 83, 8,400 level, which there's some prior price action at. I mean, you can see there was a little top here in the past. Um, but that would be ideal because then A, well, who wants to go down to 7,900? And B, if we can hold this, then essentially it can bounce and make a run at breaching this prior little top and getting back above 8,800 into this prior range, and then that puts us in, this area again. With bottom here, top here, and in a better situation where there's clear path to an upside and support on a downside. So we'll see what happens. But in reality, is anything really all that great here? Like, are you excited about looking at this chart and this price action right now? I mean, I'm really not, because again, we are maybe creating a new little bottom here. If not, we're going down here to 79, which very well could happen. And for things to even get remotely in a positive light, we essentially need to still get above 8,800. So as of right now, I mean, really not much to do. Um, not too constructive. At best, we're neutral right now. Um, so, eh. All right. So let's take a look at Ethereum. So we take a look at Ethereum and we'll see a whole different story. So now looking at this, does this not look much more positive than the Bitcoin chart, and much more welcoming for that matter in terms of seeing a potential move to the upside? So um, not much has changed since I talked about Ethereum a couple days ago. It is still nice and clean. It's still holding this level. So as I've talked about in the past, we had this support level around 680, like the 680, 700 area. And as you can see, many times as I talked about them, finally failed, came back up, tested it, couldn't get through, came back down, fought along it again, and then finally broke out. And now to confirm it, like I said, I like to see this. When it breaks out, it comes back and now tested as a support level because this was a resistance. After it broke down as a support, it became a resistance, which acted as one, came through it, failed, tested, broke through. So now, ideal situation is we continue to hold this, establish above 680, and then it can leg up. So think about this. Most of crypto has been down over the last week on a whole, and in essence, Ethereum is almost just about sideways. After having this pullback, it's basically been going sideways almost a week now after holding, especially, and it held the 680 level. So this is much more positive, much more clear. Now, how is it much more clear? Well, think about this. What's your downside? Remember, I was talking about know your upside, know your downside. Downside target. Well, here you go. We have 680 as this major support, and if you really want to give it room, you could do the low of this reversal candle, which was what, 637. So this reversal low, which this was actually an entry signal, as I've talked about in the past. Is the bullish U-turn pattern, which I talk about in the second video of the cryptocurrency investing course. And now, like if I was to get into that trade, this thing is still working. even if I didn't, even if someone, was looking at this and wanted to, enter as an investment here, you got 680, you can use as your downside. And anytime, if you get a close below there, then you get out. Now, limited downside. What's the upside? Well, obviously this prior top is the first target. So you're looking at 810, 815. And then after that, we're talking about it going into the high eights and then high nines. Like these are your next price points. So prior high, prior high, prior high. We can use these as targets and potential resistance points. So I like to use prior highs as profit targets. Generally, it makes sense, especially using risk reward. So it's like, all right, what's my upside? What's my downside? And it's like, all right, if I'm gonna get into this, I can make 100 points. All right, what's my downside? Well, if I'm using that 680, 30 something points. So that is a 3-to-1 risk reward. That is good. Like I said, we want 2-to-1 or better all the time. So um, this is an example of a much cleaner price chart, much cleaner price action, and much more positive price action. So obviously, if I'm going to get if I'm looking to get into something, or if I'm getting a entry signal, I'm probably going to do it on Ethereum as opposed to Bitcoin right now, as I'm getting, like I said, more constructive price action and much cleaner trading. So that was really it. Just kind of wanted to point out, how we need to do little things to put the odds in our favor. And it may seem like something simple like this isn't a big deal, but when you take something like this and add it to the fact that we are always doing our 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, right? And when you start adding up all these little things, they slowly edge the probabilities in your favor. And basically, that's what creates your edge, and that's what makes money in the long term, whether it's actively trading or just long term investing. So again, look for the cleaner price action, look for the more positive price action, and the more positive scenarios and setups in regard to a crypto chart. And Ethereum clearly looking a lot better than Bitcoin right now. So that's it for now. And I will see you guys on the next video. We will see how Bitcoin acts over the next 24 hours. I mean, something's got to give. So, all right. I'll put links in the show notes with some info as always. I'll see you guys on the next one.